episode of Creative Writing Advice with me, JJ Barnes. If you don't know me, I am the author of How to Write a Story, which is out now on Amazon. I take you from the beginning all the way through to the end of your story with everything in between. I'm hoping that over here on YouTube and with this book and with my writing advice blog as well, I can inspire you and give you the confidence to get your story out into the world. So today I'm going to be talking to you about writing vulnerabilities. Now, a vulnerability is something that your character is worried about or insecure about, something that they care about so much it can be used against them. It is a weakness, essentially. It's something that they are aware of, that can be taken advantage of, it's a worry, a care, a concern. Now, it's really easy to put these into a good character, a protagonist, because if your character, your protagonist, cares about something enough that they are worried about it and they are trying to do something about it, your audience is going to invest in that as well, because they like this person. Your protagonist is a likable person who wants something, and so your audience is going along with them for the ride. They are with them on that journey, hoping that they get it. But I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about vulnerabilities in a character who you don't really root for, but you can't quite help it. And I'm going to be talking about Norman Bates. Now, obviously, there's the Bates Motel, which is the more new series, and there's Psycho, the original. Actually, this is relevant to both variations of Norman Bates. Probably more so I will be able to reference it for the child character, because a child is naturally an innocent. However, it's still relevant for in the film Psycho, because Norman Bates manages to be quite charming. And if you've seen Psycho, if you haven't, this might not make sense. If you've only seen Bates Motel or none of this, but I'll explain, because I'll just pretend you've seen it but need a catch up, and it should cover all the bases. Norman Bates is a violent, bad man who kills people and kind of gets taken over by in his head, what he thinks his mother says. She's in Psycho, she's dead. In Bates Motel, she's not. In Psycho, he is taking on the persona of his mother in order to kill people. And in Bates Motel, he is a teenage boy who also has violent outbursts and takes on the persona of his mother, but it's just starting out. And yet, even though in Psycho, he is clearly a bad and dangerous man, and in Bates Motel, you know he's going to grow into a bad and dangerous man, he has this charming, almost gentle quality to him, which is written through his vulnerabilities. He's not outright brazen. He is not outright aggressive. He's not a cocky, if you think of Hannibal Lecter, another excellent film villain, he's very, very confident. He still has a kind of charming likability to him that I think I've talked about before in another video. But he's very, very confident and secure, and Norman Bates isn't. He is shy, he's sensitive, he's nervous, he's worried. In Bates Motel, obviously his mother's dead in Psycho, but in Bates Motel, he loves his mother dearly. He cares about her, he worries about her, which gives him this vulnerable sort of way about him that makes you root for him. You don't want him to be this person. You don't want him to grow into the guy who murders people. You don't want that. You want him to try and find his way out, and you know he can't, because it's the whole point of the story. In Psycho, you know he is this bad shower murdering guy. You know it, but you kind of like him a little bit, because he's not an in-your-face, aggressive, confident, hostile person. He's vulnerable. So for your protagonist, your good character, your vulnerabilities increase your audience's connection to them. They make them understand them, because we as people all have vulnerabilities and things that we worry about, things that we care about, things we are scared of losing, which could be our safety or another person or whatever. So when your likable character has vulnerabilities too, it makes you connect to them and understand them. And that's there's a clear pathway which you're going to be writing there. That is how your audience will connect to them and follow their story. When you do it with a character who is essentially unlikable because of who they are and what they're going to do, you're playing with your audience's emotions. You're making it morally complicated. You're making them think and question, and it'll make your story stick with them. Because if you're bad character, your character who you don't want to get this end that they are pursuing, you still kind of want them to get the end that they're pursuing because you like them and you shouldn't, and you know you shouldn't and you don't, but you kind of do. It's so clever and so interesting, and they're the stories that will kind of stick with you and make you think and confuse you and leave you in this sort of, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. And that is a fascinating experience. You still root for the good characters. You still want the good characters to get the good outcome because they are the people who you do genuinely, without the confusion, without the complication, they're the ones that you do root for. But having a morally complex villain with vulnerabilities that make them sensitive and have things they care about and love and are sensitive to, it just makes the story richer, because villains like Norman Bates are still human, and humans aren't just one thing. He isn't just a villainous baddie who kills people. He's not. It's not so simple, because life isn't so simple. No person is all good or all bad, and nobody is all one thing. So when you can show that, the layers and the depth and the complexity of a character who, even though they're bad and even though you don't want them to get what they want, still has a vulnerability that makes them an almost likable person, your story will become more believable, richer, more intense, more deep, and will have your audience thinking about it long after it is finished. And that's a really good thing, because then it means it's sticking with them, and they'll want to read it or watch it again and experience it more and come to you for more stories and more writing. And that's great, because if you're kind of hoping that people will buy your books or your films so that you have money to live, then getting them to come back is key. So thank you very much for watching another one of my videos. I hope this has been helpful. I'd recommend watching Psycho, watching Bates Motel, watching the writing of Norman Bates, watching how they play with this intense vulnerability, with intense villainy, how they create a character who is both likable and vulnerable and sensitive and dangerous and terrible. It's really good writing. It's really interesting. And if you study good writing and good storycraft and good characterization, it will, in turn, it will sort of give you access in your head, things you can replicate, things you can learn from and be inspired by. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If you subscribe to this channel, I'm putting out a video every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Monday is my Ask Me Anything series, and Wednesday and Friday are my writing techniques and structural breakdown things. And yeah, drop me a comment below. What do you think of the writing of Norman Bates? What can you think of characters who are incredibly vulnerable, but also kind of terrible? Because they're the really interesting ones. I would love to know some of your favourite characters that fit into that sort of description. And if you go to my website, it's jjbarnes.co.uk. Over there you'll find links to all of my work, all of my books that I've written, my film and TV work, and all my social media, so you can come and chat to me on the Facebooks and the Twitters, etc. Tell me about your writing. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much. Bye.